everybody! Good evening. Hi, Boredom. And today we're going to be playing some more London Detective Mysteria. Last time we got a catchiest good ending, so now we've finally unlocked Lupin's route. At last! At last! The boy! I've been waiting for this. I have been waiting for this. How long I've been waiting for this. But not right away. Not right away, because I am super curious about what the default ending is like. Miss Marple's route, because we had gotten her ending a couple of times, or not her ending, we've had ended up falling onto her route a couple of times, and it's actually pretty uncommon for a female friend character to have her own sort of route instead of a generic bad ending sort of thing. So I want to know if this is an actual character route that will go more into who she is as a person, or if it is just a bad ending after all. For everybody who wasn't here last week though, let me show you Akechi. Look at him! Where's the helmet redeem? Oh, I must have forgotten to re-enable it. Just a moment. Alright, it should be re-enabled now. Thanks for pointing it out. Hi, Ham! Welcome! Today we're going back to London Detective Mysteria and checking out Marple's route this time. It was over here. The route split was after the picnic with everybody. And then this one, the fog set in, but instead of witnessing a crime, we just stayed put with Marple over here. Everything's common when we're with Sarah.
霧が出てきたわね。ええ、これ以上。マープル？
We've seen this before.
大丈夫。私はここよ。
That's really charming.
もう、怖かったわ。霧の中ではぐれたかと思った。
Hi, Bad Luck Kun. Today we're hopefully going to be holding her hand. I'm not expecting any kissing taking place in this playthrough since, you know, this is still a mainstream otome game, but a girl can dream, right? Hi, Sig! Welcome! My hair is in pink.
実は私も少し怖かったの。
Alright. So now, show me chapter 1 of Marple's route. Yeah, because my shirt also isn't light blue. This is a white shirt, Sig. Please get yourself tested.
楽しかったわ。みんなと外でお食事して、風は爽やかだったし。
I noticed the picnic baskets I had taken with me were still settled out of their usual place and recalled my trip. What sweet nostalgia it was that had overtaken me. Yeah, it's been like, what, a month since we first played through the picnic and went through that entire mess with Lupin. Hi, Ballsy!
そうですね。このバスケットはあなたのお母様が大切にされていたものでした。
Wait, they are? And you didn't tell us this before we took it down?
お母様もピクニックが好きだったの？
いえ、奥様がお若い頃はまだピクニックという文化そのものがございませんでした。ピクニックの流行はごく最近のことなのです。
I didn't know that.
特に貴族の人間には友人と共に公園の芝の上で食事をするなんて考えられないことでした。
So picnics weren't popularized until the later 19th century? That's very unexpected. I figured that would be like a common theme throughout all of society.
家族で屋敷の庭のテーブルセットに腰掛けてという程度のものなら行われていたようですが。
ま じゃあ
それはお嬢様が少し大きくなられて出かけることができるようになったらピクニックを楽しもうと用意されていたとか。
Oh, Mom.
そうだったの。
ですからお嬢様が代わりにそれを大切にお使いになれば天国の奥様もお喜びになるでしょ
God, I hope Pendleton isn't in love with our dead mom.
う。またご友人との仲を深めていかれるとよろしいでしょう。
そうね、そうするわ。
やはり一番仲の良いご友人はミス・マープルでしょうか。
That's right, we're bosom buddies.
彼女は頭脳明晰だし優しいし、一緒にいると励まされるし。
それはよかった。尊敬と友情を同時に深められる友人は人生においてかけがえのない宝物。
And Pendleton feels a lot better about Marple than he does with handing us over to another man, huh? Pendleton root? No, Pendleton doesn't have a root. Trust me, I've checked. I guess it's for the best since he basically raised us, but look at him. How can a man this pretty not have a root, right?
どうぞ大切になさってください。
Please. His piece said, Pendleton gave a brief bow to dismiss himself and took the picnic baskets away. I expected the next day at school to be nothing of note.
マープル、この間のピクニックは楽しかったわね。
Yeah, let's have another
そ
one.
うね、私も楽しかったわ。
Aww, look at her blush. Marple smiled at me. I want to protect that smile.
そうだわ。今度は日曜日に行きましょう。え、いいわ。あまり寒くならないうちに二人で行きましょう。
Welcome,
できれば
Vivlio.
はい、じゃあ他に候補を探しておくわ。
I would say father figures would be off limits for this type of game, but there's probably worse. Oh, boredom. Oh, this is your first Otome game, isn't it? I'm so sorry. A surge of happiness welled within me to see her so willing to join. Her smile was lovely. I would have to look for a suitable place quickly. Oh, a fitness from Vivlio. Oh, two of them. Okay. Oh, that's 10 on each arm. What? 2. Hi, Violette! 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. Oh, another 5 on each arm for boredom. 3. 4. 5. Alright, gonna take that sip. When aren't we bullying Freya? And when her pretty smile turned mischievous at my proposal, I let out a giggle in return. Oh boy, thanks for your contributions to the Endlessimoto challenge. Your first Ultimate game would probably be the Colonel Sanders one. I would not count that one, like, at all. Since that's more of a parody than an actual straightforward game, it's kind of like if your only exposure to the magical girl genre was what was its title again? The one from the Devilman guy. He wrote something that's kind of magical girl adjacent, but not really indicative of the genre at all. I'm good at metaphors. I'm good at similes, not a metaphor. Anyway, Colonel Sanders is not indicative of regular Otome games. As time went on, we grew closer. Our days together were spent fondly. Some days were but a fine cup of tea and conversation. Others would have us engaged in complex cases, with her as a lead and me as the assistant. Ooh! I see, so we're the sub. A new event was upon us just before the start of the new school term. You'll have to take Colonel Sanders' dating sim out of your cold, dead hands. Your cold, finger-licking good hands.
素敵。マープル、こっちよ。
Marple and I had come on vacation to the town of Chirping Campton, northwest of London. We were to visit the mansion I lived in as a girl. Aww! She's showing Marple the place she grew up in.
見て、あっちにノウサギがいるわ。ええ、この辺りにはよくいるのよ。私も小さい時にはよく追いかけっこをしていたわ。
Oh, Violet, you've also never seen or played an otome game? Then, would you like any recommendations? This presupposes that you're comfortable with playing as a girl and romancing guys. I would, if you want recs, then you should let me know, like, what sort of genres you're most comfortable with. And, like, if you would prefer, dramatics or just comfy slice of life. If you're more character-driven or plot-driven.
それは今でもしているのかと思ったわ。
Oh yeah, and also what systems you have. You have no idea what genres exist, really? Oh, I just mean like, do you like fantasy or sci-fi? Like mystery? There's a lot of mystery otome games. If ones exist that let you play as a girl and romance girls, that'll be awesome. Oh yes, those aren't otome games. Otome games are specifically female protagonist and male love interests. But I have a lot of girls love games. Hi Tuxedoji, we're going through Marple's route. For DXG games, I would recommend the browsing through my Steam library. Yeah, National Park Girls. I haven't finished playing that myself, but a lot of my friends really enjoy it. And if you wouldn't mind something that's a bit, like, dark, then Heaven Will Be Mine is really, really good. Do manga about otome games count? No. No, since manga about otome games presupposes that you know about otome game conventions to begin with. Let Freya voice a manga about otome games on stream. I mean, I did just buy a couple of volumes for that. Hatable Boyfriend is kind of more of a mystery game than an otome game. It does work as an otome game, but that's not where the meat of it is. There's, like, a lot of really, bad faith engagements with the whole dating sim genre, but I think that it has a lot of good stuff in there. The dating sim genre, I mean. And that it's kind of looked down upon as not legitimate gaming. It really, what's the word? How do I say this without saying a cuss word? It really ungreases my turkey. Oh, you should never force your friends to play a game. But also which one? That can describe several mobile otome games. I'm not gonna name names because I don't want to make enemies of the otome industry. It really grinds your gears? Yeah, but that's not strong enough. I need something stronger. Potion seller, I need your strong potions. I wish you would have just said the curse word, but I'm under a Gios. I can't say the curse word or else I'll lose 90% of my power.
もうそんなことしないわ。さあ、どうかしら。
Look, she's calling us dear. She then walked off alone.
待って、マープル。これ、白爪草よね。
あ
なた、花冠の作り方、知ってる？
Clover flowers are my favorite. Though Do any of you know what white clovers mean? I'm gonna let you guess right now what white clovers mean. It's a pretty unique sort of meaning because most flowers mean something like love or friendship. White clovers do not mean death. No, even though they're white, they do not mean death. Oh, bye, Handy Ham! White clovers mean, please keep me in your thoughts. Marple, are you going anywhere we can't follow?
いいえ、マープルは作れるの？え？
Her fingers, delicate and pretty from that touch of having done much woman's work, worked carefully to make a wreath from white clovers. Her skill was such that she made this look very simple. When she finished, cradled in her hands was a lovely flower wreath that possessed not a single flaw in its design.
マープル、すごいわ。これぐらい簡単よ。あなたも作ってみない？
I sat down next to her, shoulders touching, whilst I leaned to absorb her tutelage more closely, and tried to construct a similar wreath of my own. Tried! Indeed, its final quality was not up to anyone's standard. Look, it's the effort. It's the thought that counts. I'm sure that Sarah loves it anyway.
お嬢様方、お迎えの馬車が到着しました。
I shouldn't have said forget-me-nots. Now I've got the intro to Anohana going through my head. That's right, Pendlegun is here.
行きます。
The day that gave us both such joy the day gave us both such joy that even as it was nearing its end, we bounded on the way to the carriage with a light skip, grinning and laughing all the while like sisters. Is that what they're calling it these days? On the way home from Sunday church. It was time to visit my childhood home. As the carriage clacked, I felt that distinct thump within my chest that one has upon the past being revisited.
穏やかなところね。私の育ったニード村を思い出すわ。
Sisters with a dog called Sappho.
そっか。マープルは名探偵のおばあ様に育てられたのよね。いつも村のお話ばかりだし、時にはうんざりすることもあったけど、私も村での生活は嫌いじゃなかったわ。ロンドンでの生活は楽しいけど、あんまりのんびり過ごせないもの。マープルはロンドンでもマイペースじゃない。
Ah, look at those girls kissing. They're such good sisters. There's this one anime where one of the main characters looks like you but with yellow hair. That could describe a lot of animes.
そうかしら。
We've arrived. I was eager to show Marple a tour of the inside.
あなた、これは？ああ、そのミシンはウバのものよ。
The one airing this season? Oh, I haven't been keeping up with the anime this season. Which is it?
まだ使え
Hi,
そう
Han!
よ。ぜひ使ってみたいわ。いいかしら、ペンデルトン。
ええ、この屋敷のものはすべてホワイトリー家のもの。お嬢様がお望みなら。
ありがとう、ペンデルトン。それなら遠慮なく。
Are we gonna get a GF in this route? I sure hope so. A GF. A good friend. Osamake? Oh, yeah, I read the first, 10 chapters of the manga for that before. It was after the anime was first announced, since, you know how much I love clovers. I kind of dropped off about the time that the fourth character was introduced, like the short girl. A gal for pal, yes. I like the concept though.
どうしたの？でもこれどうやって使うのかしらね。仕方ないわね。貸して。こうやって。
Is she gonna hold her hand? Is she gonna hold her hand to teach us how to sew? Marple put her foot rhythmically on the sewing machine's pedal. Each time it responded with a light click. What luck that it still worked. Yeah, this BGM is great. I love you, Marple.
すごい。慣れたものね。ええ。田舎にいた頃は簡単な服なら自分で仕立てていたわ。
Wow!
余りの布があったら分けてもらえるかしら。
Matching!
プレイスマありがとう。今持ってくるわ。
We can match! I went to gather some fabric, and Marple set about sewing it into placemats for when we went out on our picnics. As with all things she did, she spared no effort and made it look easy to do so. The placemats she created were expertly stitched in shape and made ever so adorable with white lace around their edges. Alright, Windows 11 exists now? Oh, really?
すごいわ。マープルは何でもできるのね。そんなことないわ。私、お庭のお手入れは苦手だもの。虫は嫌い。
Aww, that's cute. We'll kill all the insects in the world for you, Marple.
私も。
Never mind. Oh no, we're a pair of useless lesbians.
私もマープルみたいに得意なこととかならお菓子作りから覚えていくのはどうかしら。この家のお台所やお道具を借りてもいいんでしょ。やってみたいわ。マープル、私にスコーンの焼き方を教えて。
Yeah, non-poison scones, please.
ええ、一緒に作りましょう。
We moved next to the kitchen and she shared with me her grandmother's recipes so that we could make them together. It was with her that I baked my very first scone and prepared apple jam.
おや、いい香りですね。
Oh, we look so happy together.
ええ、マープルが作り方を教えてくれたのよ。お台所をお借りしています。
Pendleton peeked into the sink with surprise writ on his face.
お嬢様がお菓子作りに挑戦されるとは。
Well, Sarah's just being a good influence. Surprise was substituted by suspect as he looked at the freshly baked scones.
美味しそうですね。この不格好なスコーンはお
Dad!
嬢様の焼かれたものですね。
余計なこと言わないでちょうだい。せっかく綺麗に焼けたのに。形はいびつかもしれないけど。
Oh, hello, Operative Jake. Thank you so much for the raid. If Sarah swats the scone out of Pendleton's hand while calmly stating, "Don't eat that," they may not have turned out as well as hoped. I am never letting that go. They pulled the same trick twice in the same game. Welcome, Raiders. Right, we're playing an otome game right now, but we're on the default route where we hadn't raised the. Oh, thank you for the follow. I can't read this kanji. Mia. Thank you, Mia. Not in the same game in 2 consecutive chapters. 2 almost consecutive chapters. I think that there was 1 chapter in between. Just 1. Yeah, welcome. Yeah, Detective Mysteria. We're in the middle over there. To the right is our butler Pendleton, who basically raised us. And to the left is our GF, our good friend, Sarah Marple. We're on her route right now. And she has really cute BGM.
ペンデルトンさん。
はい。
I can't believe Pendleton is dead. As Pendleton turned, Marple chanced popping one of the smaller scones in his open mouth. The poor man! It was amongst the hottest on our tray.
口がやけど。
Sarah will tolerate no disrespect. Are you hot on the case? Yeah, we're hot on something. He took to it as well as one could, holding his hand politely over his mouth and swallowing the scalding scone with an inaudible but almost assuredly painful gulp. Oh, that's a big contribution. Thanks, Viv. Oh boy. Marple, as though this mild torture against my butler was not yet satisfying enough for her, removed the wooden spoon she had been using to stir the pot of jam and presented it for him to taste. Oh, she is mad. Oh no, Pendleton is getting destroyed by a teenage girl.
よろしければ熱々のリンゴのジャムもありますけど。
Thanks, Tuxie Doji. I appreciate that the butler gets to be undignified. Yeah.
失礼します。
This is revenge for being mean to Akechi last time. That was the fastest I've ever seen him dash out of the kitchen. Or anywhere.
マープル、すごいわ。あのペンデルトンを言いまかすなんて。
Freya isn't even worried, she's just impressed.
よし。次こそは文句も言わせないほどに綺麗なスコーンを作るわ。
Alright, I got a knife sharpening set and now all of our knives are extremely sharp. Oh, nice. Sharp means safe. As long as you don't run with it, okay?
でも、食べ過ぎには注意よ。
Hi, Cookie!
そうね。
It was the next day, the day of our picnic. Marple and I set off with a pleased air between us, our hard work having produced fine results like the scones, jam, and sandwiches, all of which would be finer once in our stomachs. As I look back, I realize now it was the last truly spectacular picnic of the year. Oh dear. We never parted for the entire day. Together we went, together we found a place to enjoy the sun, together we spread our newly sewn placemats, and together we talked over delicious food that we baked with heart. And what happened after that? And what better way was there to celebrate well-made food than some tea?
週明けから学校ね。もう少しここで過ごしたかったわ。
Fukunaga-san, it's just the British weather, don't worry. Ah, I see. So Marple's route takes place during the 2 weeks of good weather. In the summer, we get 12 hours of sun per year.
でも、ここにマープルと来られてよかったわ。
Oh, and thanks for the contribution, Han.
ねえ、来年の夏休みもここに来ない？アヒルの池では釣りもできるし、そうね。この街の夏も見てみたいわ。ところで、あなた、ロンドンにいる時より楽しそうね。
So they can move in here together, away from the hustle and bustle of the city, and they can be detective ladies together, living alone in this big house, never marrying, just being the best of pals.
そんなことないわよ。私だってロンドンの街が好きなんだから。今楽しいのはマープルが一緒だからだと思うわ。
Oh, Freya, you natural charmer.
お腹いっぱいだからでしょ。
Well, maybe that too, but Marple, you're the biggest snack.
違うわよ。
The scent of hay surrounded us. The winds of autumn greeted us, tussled at our hair, whispered music into our ears. This weekend in the countryside would become a memory we both cherished. Much had happened during the year. All of it was wonderful, even the moments when I was at my most distressed, for they all led to this time with Marple, and to spend time with her was the most wonderful thing of all. Weeks passed. I didn't think much of it till the day we were set to graduate was soon too close to ignore. Oh, geez, it's been years already?
もうすぐ卒業ね。早いものだわ。
Oh, did we just get a 3-year time skip?
そうね。卒業論文はうまくいっている？確か伝統家具と調度品の文化的価値よね。なかなか進まなくて難しいテーマを選びすぎたかも。マープルはどう？
You didn't think all these cases were happening all at the same time, did you? I kind of assumed that we were running into robberies and dead bodies like only a couple weeks apart. Even London needs at least a few months between each case. We get snazzy new clothes to go with it. Oh no, this is our school uniform, Han. Oh, is this your first time seeing it? They're really cute, aren't they? Even though Freya's skirt is really... Why is it so large? Like, that seems like it would make it a pain to move around the classroom. Freya Shippuden.
私はもう少しで完成するわ。最後に情報の裏付けを取りたいの。これから図書館に行くけど、あなたもどうかしら？
I want a poofy skirt, it might be soft. I think that usually they get the poofy look with, how do you pronounce it? Is it called a crinoline or a crinoline? Those little skirt cages thing.
ええ、行くわ。到底終わりそうにないもの。
As we were on our way to the library, we happened upon Holmes and Watson, both of whom were holding borrowed books.
ホームズたちも図書館に行くの？論文はどう？
ああ、僕たちならもう書き終えている。今日は個人的な調べ物をしていただけだ。
Or the white fluffy underskirt thing? Yeah, the petticoats? Petticoats are really cute. Crinoline, both I are like in tin. I see, crinoline. I'm committing that to memory. We both finished as it happens. Uh-huh.
今日はスコットランドヤードに捜査協力で呼ばれているから今から行くところなんだ。
まあ余裕ね。あら？
My eyes were drawn to another thing Holmes held, a photograph. Look at this photograph! A familiar one. But why was this so? I could not quite recall.
思い出せないわ。
もうすぐ卒業だな。
He made to be subtle in how he adjusted himself, but that he did so to hide the photograph from my sight had not escaped my notice. Yeah, after all, we've been a detective for 3 years.
まあ、そうね。そうね。寂しくなるわ。卒業したらなかなか会えなくなっちゃうかしら。
そんなことないよ。俺たちはずっとベーカー街にいるからいつでも遊びにおいでよ。
行くわ。
しかしミス・ホワイトリー、君はこの後どうするつもりだ？
それは。
Hesitated? Is this gonna be a choice?
私、
あ、
卒業した後どうするのかしら。
I want to retire to the countryside with marple.
探偵として独り立ちできそうもないし。
Sometimes while watching the stream, I'll go to press the skip forward 10 seconds button like I do on anime. I actually don't get that. Like, I've seen people watch anime by just like skipping forward every so often, trying to get the gist of what happens in between, just like guessing, like rewinding and fast forwarding a lot. Doesn't it get confusing? Hi, Panda! Hi, DT to the Panda. That thought in mind, I looked down at Her Majesty's ring on my finger and was stunned by its condition. It had lost its brilliant luster. How? Lack of polish on my part, or something else entirely? It's because you're straying from the path of being a detective.
なんだ、まだ決まっていないのか。卒業前に決めておくのを勧める。
そういうこと言うなって。
That's right, Holmes. This is why we're not going on to your route during our playthroughs.
先に行って図書館の席を取っておいてくれるかしら。 私もすぐに向かうわ。
You mostly just skip the boring parts? But then, how do you know nothing plot relevant happened during those parts? Because there's a lot of things that happen in, the lulls in action that end up coming up later. If it ends up taking too much time, then I recommend reading manga. Well, that's at least why I read rather than watching. Since it takes up a bit less time, I can read pretty quickly. Well, there's no wrong way to consume media. That I can think of at the moment. There's probably a lot of wrong ways. But you know what I mean.
わかったわ、マープル。ホームズたちもまたね。
あ
There's a scene in Attack on Titan where one of the villains casually drops in a normal conversation that he's the bad guy.
卒論頑張れよ。
I bid a fast farewell to Marple before hurrying to the library. At this time of year, the sixth form students were always in there and huddled over their books, remembering their studies and fighting through half-open eyes. The seats would fill up quickly if you weren't timely in getting one for yourself. As a person with ADHD, I end up skipping stuff anyway. Yeah, I understand that.
ミス・マープル、ミス・ホワイトリーをあの事件には近づけないでくれ。
Oh?
わかっているわ。あの子を危険な目に遭わせたくないもの。
頼む。彼女の最も近くにいる君にしかできないことだ。
ええ、大丈夫よ。あの子を傷つけるようなことしたくないもの。
Gotta go help your dad pick up branches. Stay safe! Bye! Thanks for coming! More time passed until it was the day of our graduation ceremony. It took a great amount of work on my part, but my thesis was done and submitted on time. My grade wasn't quite as high as Marple's or Holmes's or Watson's. Oh my god! Freya, how bad are you to be worse than Watson? But I finished it. Oh, thank God that I did. This was enough for me to puff out my chest with pride. Watson?
ちょっといいかしら。どうかしたの？あなたが来てから学園で過ごすのはとても楽しかったわ。本当に
Is this a love confession?
だからこれからもずっと一緒にいて私を助けてくれないかしら。
Stay by your side? Even after today? Do you want me to stay by your side for the rest of our lives?
私でよければ。
I do.
マープルは卒業したらロンドン市内にお茶の美味しい探偵事務所を開くんでしょ。素敵だわ。ええ、でもまだ勉強すべきことも準備することもたくさんあるの。
Whenever she spoke like this, it was pinched with loneliness.
実を言うとまだ私これからやるべきことが。でもね、それじゃいけないって分かってる。だからマープルのそばにいてあなたを支えながら自分の道を探したいの。
Oh.
マープル、だからそれまで私にあなたのお手伝いをさせてちょうだい。
This is really sweet.
ありがとう。それならぜひお願いするわ。頼りにしているからね。
Dear. Marple smiled her kind, beautiful smile reserved just for me. This was our last day spent at Harrington Academy. We were no longer considered children, but young adults responsible for what would become of the future. I was nervous, uncertain that I was ready to step into a whole new world. That is, until I simply thought of it as a whole new beginning at Marple's side. Charmed end. Oh, that was pretty short, but I guess that makes sense. I wonder what that secret case was. It's probably related to Holmes and Watson's like roots, because or maybe only Holmes. Yeah, it is really sweet. Since we watched this before, maybe I can skip it? No, I can't skip it. And I see that it's a bunch of scenery instead of the CGs that we had before. So it looks like the good endings and the charmed ending here have different credit sequences? Interesting. Ah, then are the 3 credit sequences the good ends, the bad ends, and these friendship endings? Friendship, quotation marks. I wonder if Marple has her own epilogue too. She deserves one. If she has an epilogue, then I think that I'll play through that too. Just because I want more Marple content. She's a good girl. Sometimes you just want a sweet story with no actual conflict in it. And... Any epilogue? Oh no. Wait. Love interests are Holmes, Watson, Jack, John, Akechi, and who am I forgetting? No, there are only 5 boys. What's the 6th epilogue? What's the 6th epilogue? Secret Pendleton route? Probably not. I really did look really hard to see if there was one, but I didn't see any news. But I can try. Pendle, please. I think that this is, where we had the route split. It's our picnic. We are a veteran at this. Oh, we can skip it now! Thank goodness. We're at new territory. I reached out to the baskets before me to set out before packing everything away.
ミス・ホワイトリー、僕も一緒に片付けます。
まあ、ルーピン、手伝ってくれるの？
Lupin.
はい。女性を一人残していくなんてできませんし。
Lupin, I would die for you.
ありがとう、ルーピン。それじゃあ、霧が濃くなる前に片付け。
はい。任せてください。
Yeah. 任せてします。We divided the work between us and set about tidying the area.
そういえば、今日のあなたのお弁当はお父様が作ったのよね。
はい。一体どこから嗅ぎつけてきたのか。今日が課外授業でピクニックだと知ったらしく、今日はこんな手料理を。
It's okay, John. Our dad is embarrassing too.
まあ、羨ましいわ。 ルーピンはお父様に本当に大切にされているのね。
でも僕はミス・ホワイトリーの洗練されたお弁当がすごく羨ましいです。
Well, in that case, we should have just traded lunches. Right, Lupin? Maybe we could trade lunches? Or better yet, feed each other?
特に僕スコッチエッグが気に入りました。もう一度ごちそうになりたいくらいです。
Pendleton, make this boy some Scotch eggs right now.
あのお料理は私が作ったのよ。あんまり綺麗に作れなかったけれど。
Oh.
そうだったんですか。美味しくて形なんて気になりませんでした。
Oh.
どうもありがとう。ルーピンが喜んでくれて嬉しいわ。
そんなお礼を言うのはごちそうになった
I love
僕の
this
方
flustered
ですよ。
expression. I love him so much. By the time we finished the last of our work, the area had become enshrouded by a thick fog.
なんだか霧が濃くなってきたわね。
Saying that, I turned round to where Lupin had been, only to find that he was no longer there. What crimes will we witness this time?
ルーピンどこに？
ミス・ホワイトリー、どこですか？
Oh no, we gotta save him! I could hear his voice from far away. Frantically, I set off in the direction it was coming from.
ルーピンどこにいるの？
After walking for a short time, I could finally make out the faint silhouette of a person. It was from the same direction as Lupin's voice. At that, I presumed it to be him.
ルーピンなの？
I edged closer to the figure, but rather than get closer, it almost seemed to move farther away.
待って！
Here we are at the crossroad again. Does this actually make a difference?
話し声が聞こえ。もしかして、あるいは誰も
Well, who will we witness this time?
置いて。ここやっ
だ。
ぱり誰？
約束のもの。
Hmm. So someone we've seen already.
やめろ。モラン大佐。なんだ。
So it's Moron this time.
いけない。どうしよう。
ミス・ホワイト。
And there's the important boy. Lupin fell to the ground with an unpleasant smack before he reached me.
ルーピン大丈夫？
大丈夫です。で、僕のことよりも。
He jumped straight back up and without hesitation and pulled me close. His hands cupping both of my cheeks. He was terribly flustered from panic. Well, now I'm flustered too, Lupin.
君こそ大丈夫ですか？怪我は。
ルーピン私は大丈夫よ。
Honestly, Lupin, you're worse for my heart than any fright is.
それならよかった。
心配してくれてありがとう。だからそろそろ手を。
No, please keep them on. I cast my eyes downwards as my voice dropped to a flushed whisper. Oh, Freya is flushed too.
ああ、ごめんなさい。僕はいきなりなんてことを。
Lupin waltzed back in yet another dramatic movement. He'd gone through such an impressive range of them in so short a time, it was a small wonder he'd seemed out of breath solely because of me. Lupi is a good boy.
本当にすみません。
Are you sure?
それに僕ミス・ホワイトリーを一人にして怖い思いまでさせてしまって。
It didn't sit well with me to see him scolding himself.
ルーピン君、そんなに自分を責める必要はありませんよ。
ええ、ペンデルトンの言う通りよ。元はといえば私が動き回ってしまったのがいけないの。私の方こそ ごめんなさい。ルーピンに心配をかけてしまって。
でも、やっぱり、すみません。
さて、お嬢様、ルーピン君。ここで長話もなんですから、馬車にお乗りください。ご自宅までお送りいたします。
Actually, where does Lupin live?
でも、
Huh?
この後、学園に用事があるので。
A secret, is it?
それなら学園まで送るわ。いいでしょ、ペンデルトン。
ええ、もちろん。
Is Pendleton suspicious?
それじゃあ。
We all climbed into the carriage and set off for Harrington. Pendleton's sigh was the first thing to break yet another lengthy silence.
お嬢様、今日はあえて苦言を申し上げます。
Here comes the Pendleton lecture.
いい加減自ら危険に首を突っ込む癖を控えてください。
ペンデルトンさん、ごめんなさい。僕のせいで。
ルーピンは悪くないわ。だからあまり自分を責めないで。
I'm imagining like a Who Broke It animatic where Lupin keeps saying that he was the one who broke it, let him pay.
ミス・ホワイトリー。
それと一つ気になることがあるの。モラン大佐という人物について。
Oh? Ah, so you're familiar with him?
お嬢様、その名をどこで？
Lupin cocked his face slightly as though perplexed. Pendleton, however, appeared quite grave upon the mention of Colonel Moran.
さっき霧の中でそう呼ばれていた人がいたの。
その名前の人物は過去に逮捕されて無期懲役を言い渡されたはずです。
でも実際に私ははっきりと聞いたわ。脱獄したということは。
いいえ、彼は今もロンドン島に収監されているはず。
ひょっとして似た名前と聞き間違えたりしたんじゃ。
Lupin is a jewel thief of sorts, right? Or jewelry, or art, or other sorts of, really rich people stuff? So what would Moran have to do with it? Yeah!
盗まれた宝物。
Be rich? Is Moran rich? Ah, the morning began as any other. At the breakfast table.
お嬢様、今朝の紅茶はアールグレーでございます。
An aroma of citrus gave the room a certain exquisiteness from every corner.
もういいわ、ペンデルトン。
Yet I did not feel equally exquisite. I enjoyed the tea with one ladylike sip before placing it back down its saucer, a sigh escaping my lips.
お嬢様、一体どうしたんです？
Pendleton,
お
don't
嬢
be
様がデ
rude.
ザートをご所望なさらないなんて、まさか緊張でも。貴族階級の茶会に参加されるのは初めてですからね。
緊張なんてしてないわ、ペンデルトン。私はこれでも当主なのよ。
Oh. Well, I think that she's wearing the same dress as from the prologue.
それでしたらお嬢様、テーブルに飾られた花を睨みつけるのはお控えください。そんな食虫植物でも見るような目で見つめては、丹精込めて育ててくれた庭師たちが気の毒ですよ。
あら、私は綺麗な花も食虫植物も同じようにめでてみせるわよ。
そうですね。分け隔てないお嬢様はそのまま有毒植物もめでてしまうでしょう。残念ながらホワイトリー家の庭園ではそういった植物は育てておりませんが。
知っているわよ、そんなことは。残念。
The Whiteley family was in possession of a vast garden. The ground became adorned with color routinely by the gardeners, peppering white foundation with reds and blues and yellows, and whatever else was more excitable than walls, giving me a new sight to appreciate outside of my window every morning. Welcome back, Boredom! Flowers delivered in excess were then brought inside by the servants, and so when I exited my room for the day, I was greeted once more by color decorated with neat calculation, as their placement had always been as sensible to me as arithmetic was always correct. And today, I had been awakened to a breakfast table decorated by orchids in a glass vase. Vase? In British English, do they say vase or vase?
お嬢様は女王陛下のパーティーで大活躍されました。お嬢様を招きたいと思うのも当然です。お嬢様、ホワイトリー家の名に恥じぬ立ち居振る舞いを心がけてくださいね。
言われなくたって分かっているわよ、ペンデルトン。よし、気合も十分よ。ペンデルトン、表に場所を。
かしこまりました。しかしお嬢様、茶会でそのような言葉遣いはアウトですよ。
Once satisfied, we set off for another residence on the outskirts of the city. This mansion had taken roughly an hour to reach, but upon my arrival, I'd seen that it had a garden that was even more immaculate than mine. Ooh, I like this, marble look. Within it were tables draped in blue cloth, teapots stationed at their center, and the scent of Darjeeling agreeing wonderfully with the flora.
新聞で記事は拝見しましたが、ホワイトリー家のお嬢さんは実に活発ですな。
I don't trust your voicing.
本当に。それに耳麗しい容姿だわ。
And I don't trust your design. I don't trust these rich people. I want to go back to the good rich people. Standing and sitting, discussing, drinking, and laughing with a chested huff that lacked vibrancy more than nobility. They dressed for the occasion, of course, and they kept their manners in straight back. And they kept their manners in straight backs, as did I against my unease. Good rich people? I mean the rich people that we can kiss. If you ever find a vine very conveniently hanging down, perfect for swinging on, keep in mind it will probably tear up your hands. Boredom, what did you do?
しかし、その若さで家を背負うのは大変だろう。庭園や工場など大層な財産も持っているそうじゃないか。
Geez, this guy wants us to marry his son, doesn't he?
信頼のおけるものに任せておりますので。
優秀な人材も立派な財産ですわ。私も財産は持っているけれど、お恥ずかしいことにちっぽけな城一つ。
The eyes of those within earshot twinkled.
それはすごい。わしはあの黄金の杯を持っておりますが、なんの。
Oh no. We've entered the humble bragging competition.
いえ、私も女王陛下の分家より賜った先祖代々の探検がございますが。
いや。
Well, my brother found a vine conveniently hanging down, perfect for swinging on, and we tried to swing on it and it was rough in my hands. Boredom, please don't touch strange vines. Well, my nephew is actually gone, but... You'd think that Freya would be used to this by now.
ホワイトリー家も女王陛下の肖像画をお持ちでしょ？
それは貴重な一品ですな。ビクトリア女王の絵はあまり市中に出回っていない。
ぜひともこの目に収めてみたいものですわ。
My mom was encouraging me to do it too. I'm your mom now, Boredom.
大変申し訳ありませんが、肖像画は家宝ですので。
まあそう固いこと言わずに。それぐらいにしておきたまえ。
Beckford? Oh, you are definitely not to be trusted, but I like the look of you. Yes, I like the look of this man. Oh, and a hat toggle? No! I'm pure! My intentions for Earl Beckford are pure. I just want to maybe be gently courted by him and be unsure whether he actually means any of the words that he says, but that he makes me happy anyway. So even if it's a lie, it's alright. But in actuality, he does come to fall in love with my innocent demeanor. Behind me, a slim gentleman carrying a handsome, aged composure entered the conversation. Nice!
あの方は確かベク
He was the host of the party, and currently, from my perspective, my savior. I don't know if I could have taken much more prying.
本日はお茶会にお招きいただきありがとうございます。
君がミス・ホワイトリーね。
はい。
本日は招待に応じてくれてありがとう。
Thank you for coming. I wouldn't mind becoming Miss Beckford.
ご両親には昔、大変お世話になってね。ご息女である君といつか話をさせてもらいたいと思っていたのだよ。
光栄です。
さて、少し歩きながら話でもしようか。
A stroll where we can talk about what's on our mind and admire beautiful scenery together? And then you tell me that I'm even more beautiful than any of the flowers? My conversation with the Earl was much more genuine. We walked around the mansion smiling, laughing in a way more true than others I'd seen. Between lighter subjects were heavier ones as well, and never once did I suspect he would twist our engagement to a contest of earnings.
いや、せっかく来てくれたのに、つまらない話に巻き込んでしまったな。
Oh, he is definitely a shady old man. He is so shady.
そんなことありませんわ。紅茶もお菓子も美味しかったですもの。
それはよかった。今日のために準備した甲斐があった。
This is definitely a villain character. But I don't mind. I would let him lead me astray.
先ほどはありがとうございました。助かりました。
家宝はかけがえのないものだ。君はそれをよくわかっている。よかったら今日出した紅茶を君に分けてあげよう。屋敷の者に振る舞ってやるといい。
Stop! Don't drink that!
君はまだ若いのに、当主として堂々としている。大したものだ。これからも頑張りなさい。ご両親のように。
はい。ありがとうございます。
We went immediately to retrieve the tea, and as Earl Beckford handed it to me, I smiled. The party ended with me feeling much lighter than when it began. Tapped out for a bit, who's this hottie? That was Earl Beckford, the host of the party, and definitely an antagonist, but I don't mind.
お嬢様、大変機嫌がよろしいようですが、何か良いことでも？
ペンデルトンには秘密よ。
どなたかに素晴らしいご当主だとお褒め。
秘密ったら秘密。それよりもペンデルトン、招待してくださったベックフォード伯爵が私に紅茶をくださったの。
Hot antagonists are very good. Do you guys have any favorites?
屋敷でホームズやワトソンたちにも紅茶をご馳走したいのだけれど、いいかしら？
え？構いませんよ。
I couldn't wait long. In just a few days' time, I had made prompt arrangements for my friends to visit me for fine tea and finer conversation.
悪くないな。
Wow, that's high praise from Holmes.
ホームズが一口目で難癖つけないなんて、よっぽどうまい紅茶なんだな。
We've truly learned how to read him well.
難癖とは失礼だな、ワトソン君。僕は紅茶に関して妥協しないだけだ。他意はない。
Who's from Soft?
ホームズのリクエストに応えてたら日が暮れちゃうわ。このクッキーも美味しいわね。
Yeah, scrummy.
レディー、このタルトっておかわりある？
Take everything you want, Kobayashi. You deserve it for all that you put up with.
こら小林、紅茶そっちのけで歌詞に手をつけるなんて品がありませんよ。それに音を立ててすするのも見苦しいからやめなさい。
Does Kaiba count? I don't think that Kaiba counts as much of a villain after just like the first arc.
明智さん、ティーカップを両手で持っているのはわざとなの？それとも寒いから？
これはつい癖で、日本での習慣がまだ抜けてないようです。
Cute.
なるほど、英国ではそのように紅茶をいただくんですね。
We got a CG of his hands this time. In what became a common occurrence for him, Akechi returned his teacup to the table and began scribbling away in his notebook. You want us to kiss it better?
ルピン大丈夫？そんなに。
はい。
Kiss it better? Is he alright? You didn't burn your tongue, did you?
やけどとかしていない？
大丈夫です。ミス・ホワイトリー。僕が猫舌なだけですから。
Oh, Lupin's got a cat's tongue. That's so cute.
それならよかったわ。
まったく礼儀作法もわびさびもあったものじゃありませんね。
本当はジャックも誘いたかったんだけれど、学園で声をかけ損ねてしまったの。
Jack is busy committing murder.
次はちゃんと誘わなくちゃ。
Okay, yeah, he's cute, right? I fell in love with him at first sight.
君は相変わらず彼に構っているようだな。その不屈な姿勢は称賛に値するよ。
Yeah, we are determined to befriend Jack the Ripper.
ジャックだってもしかしたらお茶が好きかもしれないじゃない？
会話が弾むなんて想像できないな。彼が事件の犯人だったら積極的に話しかけもするだろうが。
No, comrade, we fell. Yes, our boyfriend.
もうクラスメートに対してそんなことを言わないでちょうだい。
あれ？君、そこに飾ってあるのってビクトリア女王の肖像画？
ええ、そうよ。お父様とお母様が女王陛下からいただいたの。ホワイトリー家の宝物よ。
Holmes is like the generic anime protagonist. Yeah, he kind of is.
家宝ってやつか。そういえば俺ってこの屋敷の主だもんな。
そうね。普段話しているとうっかり忘れてしまうわ。ほら、私は親しみが持ててすごくいいと思うわ。貴族らしくなくて。
Hudson, I'm afraid that's not a compliment.
どうもありがとう、ハドさん。
ミス・ホワイトリー、その絵の下に飾ってある写真にも女王陛下が写っているようだ。
ええ、女王陛下を囲んでお父様とお母様が友人と一緒に撮った写真なの。
君の母さんはすぐ分かったよ。この笑った顔、君とよく似てる。
じゃあ隣に立ってるおじさんがレディの父親か。
Oh,
背が高いな。
oh, to the far left. That's Earl Beckford. Oh. Oh man, so he's old enough to be our dad? Oh, this is spicy though. Oh, so he was a peer. I wonder, was he in love with our dead mom? Look, I've encountered too many, older dudes who have a creepy fixation on the protagonist because they were obsessed with their dead mom. That single strand of hair has been uncombed for decades. That's aesthetic, baby.
ハリントン福祉教育基金の設立を記念して撮影されたものらしいわ。
なるほど。ミス・ホワイトリーの両親はハリントン福祉教育基金の設立メンバーだったのか。
ええ。この写真は大事なものなの。そう。この写真はきっとお父様とお母様の身に起こった事件の謎を解く鍵になるもの。
ミス・ホワイトリー、急に黙り込んでどうしたんだ？
ううん、なんでもないわ。気にしないでちょうだい。
Holmes appeared unconvinced, his face cocked in question. I returned it with a forced smile. Lupin? What you thinking? Do you recognize somebody in there?
ルーピン、そんなに見つめていたら写真に穴が開いてしまうわ。
そんなわけないじゃないですか。って
ルーピン君、その絨毯は王室御用達の特注品です。紅茶汚れは跡がくっきり残りますので気をつけてくださいね。
Pendleton, don't bully him.
ごめんなさい。気をつけます。
ペンデルトン、ルーピンを怖がらせるのはやめてちょうだい。
One by one, each of my guests sampled the tea and treats, and in that same order did they approve. The photograph stayed with me as one of many treasures my parents left to me. It was my honor to protect it as head of my household. Little did I know it then, but my ability to do just that was tested the very next day.
これは
I doubted my eyes. For a second time, I read the headline of the newspaper in my hands.
アルセーヌ・ルパンの申し子。次に狙うはホワイトリー邸女王陛下の肖像画か
Dawn!
ですって。
I thought we were friends!
ホワイトリー家に眠る気高き女王陛下の姿をいただく。
I can't believe that the Phantom Thief is gonna thieve from us.
そんなに声を荒げて一体どうしたんですか？今朝庭師が持ってきてくれた良いバラがありますよ。さあ、お嬢様もせっかくですからこのバラの香りを嗅いで少しは。
Alicia was the first to hear my panic, coming straight to me in a supportive manner.
確かに朝からいい香りが屋敷中に溢れていたわね。それどころじゃないわ、アリシア。これをご覧なさい。
おや、新聞。おやまあ、どうしましょう。今すぐあの絵を安全な場所に。
Yeah, Phantom Thief, no Phantom Thiefin'. Swiper, no swiping.
落ち着いて、アリシア。
申し訳ございません、お嬢様。私としたことが取り乱してしまいました。
アリシア、ペンデルトンはどうしたの？
はい、今朝早くにお客様がいらっしゃったようで彼が対応したはずなんですが。
お客様？誰が来ていたのか。
いいえ、私は彼が対応に行く代わりにお嬢様の登校の支度をお手伝いするように言いつかっていたので。
そう。
After breakfast, I discovered from Pendleton that our guests were none other than the police, to which I expressed a desire to remain home instead of going to school, to which Pendleton refused. Education is important. He debated until I relented. If my argument lost, I did as asked and went to school.
学生の本分を忘れてはいけませんだなんて。ペンデルトンは私が当主でおまけに探偵であることも忘れているんじゃないかしら。
皆さんごきげんよう。
Hi again, Mr. Mackenzie.
一つ連絡です。ホームズ君とワトソン君は本日授業を欠席します。
See, the
お
dudes
父
get
上
to
の
skip.
事件の手伝いだそうです。事件といえばホワイトリーさん。君も災難な目に遭っているみたいですね。
Mr. Mackenzie, are you letting us off for the day?
マッケンジー先生、それは違います。
え？
ルパンは家宝の肖像画を奪うと言ってきました。だから私はルパンの挑戦を受けるつもりです。
This is the most sleep-deprived person I've ever seen. Yeah, and we love him
大
for
切
it.
な肖像画を守ってみせます。
そうですか。でも無理はしないようにしてくださいね。
He cares so much.
さあ、授業を始めましょう。それでは教本を開いて。
Lessons began and ended without incident.
ミス・ホワイトリー。
あら、どうしたのルーピン。
君は本当にルパンを捕まえるつもりなんですか？
Oh, are you interested, Lupin?
ええ、もちろんよ。
でも君って前にルパンに捕まって
You
大
mean
変な
where
目
he
に遭
stole
ったんじゃ。
our first kiss? Well, we gotta get our revenge. And that means stealing his lips next, don't you think?
だからこそよ。あの時私は彼にからかわれて思い出すのも恥ずかしい。
僕が偉そうにとやかく言えた立場じゃないんだけど、君はそんなに無茶しない方が。
Thank you for worrying?
ありがとうルーピン。心配してくれて。
Can I cut off his lips and take them? No! Don't worry, Lupin. I know your names are similar, but I'm too good a detective to confuse you and Lupin. Exactly.
それなら。
ごめんなさいルーピン。心配してくれたのはとても嬉しいの。だけどあの肖像画は私にとってもホワイトリー家にとっても大切なもの。
ミス・ホワイトリー、でもまた君がさらわれちゃったらみんなすごく心配します。
It's okay, I'm sure you take good care of me. An idea then dawned on me.
それじゃあルーピンあなたも一緒に来ない？
Oh no. Oh, he is panicking. I returned to the mansion with Lupin, and when we arrived, the place felt full to bursting with both servants and men of Scotland Yard. Their feverish energy somehow made it feel more crowded than the number of people, as if their very panic took on bodies of their own.
お嬢様、ご命令通り肖像画を移動し、屋敷内のすべての絵に暗幕を貼り終えました。
ありがとうペンデルトン。これでルパンの狙う絵の場所は限られたものにしかわからないわ。
お嬢様、屋敷の外に見物人がたくさんおりますが、
変装したルパンがいたら大変だわ。丁重にお帰りいただいて。
かしこまりました。それとお嬢様、今朝いただいたバラなんですが、
どうやらたくさん余ってるみたいね。
かしこまりました。庭師が中まで運んでくれたのですが、ものすごい量で。
ミス・ホワイトリー、操作に邪魔なら。
Oh, he is trying.
待ってルピン、あなたもルパンには興味があったんでしょ？
いや僕はただ心配してただけで、ルパンに興味があるわけじゃ。
Oh, this poor boy. It's the gardener. I can't believe the gardener was Lupin this whole time. Despite having similar facial structure, hair color, and height.
お嬢様、ルーピン君は本当に探偵なのですか？なんというか、お嬢様と比べて随分消極的ですが。
Oh no, he's not a crime fighter, he's a criminal.
安心してちょうだいペンデルトン。ルーピンだって私と同じく女王陛下から指輪をいただいた探偵よ。
How did he even get that?
私もルーピンが事件解決したところはまだ見
Queen Vicky, please explain.
ミス・ホワイトリー、こうすべての絵に目隠しされたんじゃ我々も守りようがない。せめて私とライアンに、いや私だけでもいい。
It's okay, Ryan.
警部、そんなのひどいです。
スコットランドヤードを疑ってるわけじゃありませんわ。ただルパンは警官に紛れ込む可能性が高いわ。
疑ってないと言っておいて堂々と疑ってるじゃないですか。
なるほどな。しかしこうも考えられないかね。ルパンジュニアは身内の人間に変装していると。ここでは多くのメイドが働いている。
ご心配なく、メイド全員に伝えてあるわ。使用人は全員余ったバラを飾り次第部屋で待機。外に出たらルパンだと思って逮捕するからねって言ってあります。
しかし身内の人間はメイドだけではない。あなたに変装しているかもしれない。
Oh, Ryan, you are not a detective. Ryan's enthusiasm was as such that he thrust his arm before him and pointed. One of us was the culprit. I was hoping that Ryan got his own pointing CG. To be fair, she can trust the police. This time. Ryan believed that Lupin was impersonating, which would be funny. Of all people, he suspected Lupin.
僕ですか?
Oh, I love how his voice cracks there. In fact, I'm gonna save it. Been a while since we did this, huh, fellas?
僕ですか?
そうやってどんくさそうなふりをして周りを油断させようとしたってそうは問屋が下ろしませんよ。
どんくさそうなふり。
僕は変装なんかしてませんよ。
犯人はみんな同じことを言うんです。
Having cornered his target, Ryan's enthusiasm grew by twice his usual vigor, whilst Lupin's apprehension also became twice greater.
ルーピンが本物だってどうしたら証明できるかしら。こうなったら実力行使よ。
ミス・ホワイトリー？
ごめんなさいルーピン。歯を食いしばって我慢してちょうだい。
Are we gonna pinch his cheeks?
あなたへの疑いを晴らすためよ。
To prove that he's not wearing a latex mask?
ちょっと。いたたた。
Why does he constantly sound like he just ran a marathon? It's cute. I pinched and tugged at his cheeks till we saw all his teeth on display. Oh no, I'm so sorry, Lupin.
ミス・ホワイトリー、ちょっとやめてください。ミス・ホワイトリー、ちょっとやめてください。ミス・ホワイトリー、ちょっとやめてください。ミス・ホワイトリー、ちょっとやめてください。
どう？これでルーピンが偽物じゃないって分かったでしょ？
彼は苦労の多そうな顔をしているな。
My plan had worked! Although there was an unfortunate stare of pity from both the inspector and sergeant for the effort. Lupin's cheeks, meanwhile, had become a touch too red, and not in the good way this time.
ルーピン、ごめんなさいね。私。
これくらい大丈夫ですよ。ミス・ホワイトリー。
いったた。
君のおかげで疑いが晴れたんだから感謝しないと。ありがとうございます。
But please, Miss White-chan, I'll do anything. Whoa. He nursed his cheeks with his hands, but the thanks was true, for the smile he gave me was kind.
とにかく肖像画の場所を教えるわけにはいきません。これで絵の場所を知っている者は限られるわ。あら？
It was odd. I hadn't noticed that all before, but abruptly came the heavy scent of roses. Anything? Anything. Then perish.
アリシアや他のメイドが部屋に香水をかけるわけないわ。そういえば、香りといえば。
I politely excused myself before turning into the hallway. The roses were so strong in just the next area over, so why was the scent so different here? As I deliberated, I thought back to what Alicia said only earlier in the day.
あのバラ、本当に庭園の庭師が運んできたのかしら。
Leaving the task of guarding the portrait to Pendleton, I boarded a carriage and left the mansion post-haste. The men had been left alone without a certain lovely young lady to encourage intimate discussion. Intimate, you say? The mansion, outside of bustling from the yard's men seeking particular stations, was silent. It was Lupin who eventually broke this silence.
ペンデルトンさん、申し訳ないんですが、屋敷のどこかに。
もしや、それは指輪では？
The butler had long been aware of Lupin's regrettable habit from stories Lady Whiteley shared.
申し訳ありませんが、 私は見ていないですね。心配せずとも見つけたものが届けてくれますよ。
そうかもしれませんが、やっぱり僕探してきます。
Without any goodbyes, Lupin retired from the room, flustered and agitated. That's very sus. What piqued Pendleton's interest then, he didn't know, but one's interest need only be mildly slow, so to prompt an investigation. It didn't take long before Pendleton followed. He passed several police officers and into a hall before being alerted by a cry.
今の声は
It was in the direction of the basement. He descended the staircase at a telling urgency. This cry was not the only thing that had the hairs at the back of his neck stand on end. He was certain that several officers had been guarding this very nook of the mansion, and yet he was alone. Had no one else heard what he heard?
この階段には警備をつけていたはず。それなのに地下室が開いている。
But the fact remained, it was open upon his arrival. This wasn't the work of the servants who, for one, would wisely leave it closed. For two, they were elsewhere as instructed.
まさかここに侵入されるとは。
Oh! Pendleton removed a pistol hidden within his coat, pointing it inside the room at the bottom of the staircase before edging closer. Oh no, I can't believe Lupin is dead. The room was dim and furnished plainly. There, he found the source that first alerted him. An officer was lying on the floor, bound by rope, with a tuft of cloth forced into his mouth to prevent him from making any more screams. Then perish indeed. Pendlegun! Everybody take a drink for Pendlegun. Honestly, that's just really funny. It sounds all rhythmic and stuff. My god, Lupin has stolen this man's chastity.
大丈夫ですか?
No one else was present, no fellow bound officers nor would-be villains responsible. Upon resetting the pistol in his jacket, Pendleton kneeled next to the man to untie him.
どうしてこんな場所に?
The door closed behind him, fell right into Lupin's trap. From the bottom of its frame came the eerie, familiar sound of air being released from a balloon.
しまった。しかもこれは催眠ガス。
Oh, I think this is a new sprite from Pendleton. So even he gets flustered sometimes. It was leaking through the crack and spreading so rapidly that it wasn't long before the officer, with no means to defend himself, had fallen asleep. Pendleton covered his mouth, but there was little that could be done when trapped in a room. He could feel his consciousness leaving him.
このままでは持たない。早く扉を。
Body swaying but still able, the butler reached for the handle and touched it. Oh. A mild pain seized his entire body instantly and he fell to his knees. Oh, jeez.
鉄の扉に電気を流すなんて、ずいぶん手の込んだいたずらですね。
How?
この程度で気を失うわけには。
Pendleton persisted. Through electrical current, he persisted. Through a muddled mind, he persisted. Through persistence, did he manage to turn the handle?
早く、お嬢様の。
And that was all. Upon turning the handle, he at last slept at the open doorway.
いい夢を。
Lupin watched for only a moment before turning away. Yeah, he is so cool. Elsewhere, Scotland Yard officers remained unaware that such a deception had taken place. Those still at their stations stood still, finding nothing, and in some ways hoping that nothing would become something to cure their boredom.
おいライアン、さっきから気になっていたんだが、この屋敷、なんだか匂わないか？
警部、匂うだなんて失礼ですよ。これはバラの香りです。フローラルの香りは女性に。
言いたいのはそういうことではない。怪しいんじゃないかってことだ。ミス・ホワイトリーはともかく、ルーピン君やあの執事までいないのはいくらなんだ。
それよりも早くルパンジュニアを。
Inspector Lestrade and Ryan were the next to hit the ground with a soft thud, and it wasn't long before surrounding officers fell in suit. All discussion became muted at the behest of a wonderful scent.
眠り姫が瞳を閉じている間、彼女を守っていたのは茨の城だったけれど、美しいバラの香りに包まれた屋敷に横たわるのは貧相な警官だけか。悲しいな。
Do you like men too, Lupin? That's something that we have in common, right? Lupin stepped lightly in the direction of the bedroom where the portrait was hidden. There it hung, gorgeous, enchanting, enticing, just like me. He extended his hands to its frame.
なんて思っていたけれど、やはり
But stopped just short of touching it.
また君にこうして会うことができたんだから。
I've got a gun!
動かないで、ルパン。
In my own hands was a pistol I borrowed from a sleeping officer. I stood at the entrance to the room, weapon pointed, legs apart in a fierce stance. Lupin looked not the least bit disturbed.
ずいぶん物騒なものを持っているな。そんなもの、君には似合わないよ。
お忘れかしら、ルパン。私は探偵なの。ただの貴族のお嬢様だと思ってたら、痛い目を見るわよ。今朝、屋敷に大量のバラを送ったのは、あなたに。
気に入ってくれた？僕の気持ちが伝わるように赤いバラを多めにしたんだけど。
Oh, we love it.
気に入るわけないでしょ。絵を盗むために送ってきたバラなんて。落ち着いて。ルパンの挑発に乗っちゃダメよ。今朝バラを送ってきた庭師が全くの偽物だと確かめてきたわ。あなたがバラを送ってきた目的は2つよ。1つはここに潜入する口実を作るためアリシアが言っていたわ。あまりのバラの多さに庭師が屋敷の中まで運んでくれたと。
その庭師は紳士の鏡だね。
あなたはその時にこの肖像画の場所を把握したのよ。
だけど君たちは肖像画の場所を移動していたじゃないか。もし仮に僕がこの屋敷に庭師として侵入していたとしても、これでは意味がないと思わないかい？
The thief remained emotionally uncornered. Throughout this engagement and my irritation, he watched me with amusement, with eyes half-lidded above a guardless smile. Oh, how I love that smile. I wanna hold that hand.
映されても絵を発見できるようにするため、それが2つ目の目的よ。まず、あなたはこの屋敷をバラの香りでいっぱいにした。
Ah, you scented the painting, did you?
だけど、庭師として潜り込んだ時、この肖像画にだけは香水、ムスクを使って香りをつけたのよ。この絵の近くだけ違う香りがしたわ。それに、ホワイトリー家にはムスクの香水は置いていないの。
Clever.
ついでに眠り薬をばらまいた時に香りを利用して発信源が警官にバレないようにしたかったんでしょ。バラの香りでカムフラージュしようとしたみたいだけど、残念だったわね。私も伊達にお嬢様として生きてきたわけじゃないわ。
Yeah.
君が言うように庭師に変装していたとして、どうやって多くの使用人たちの目をかいくぐって香りをつけるんだい？
あら、ルパン、あなたは怪盗でしょ。変装なんてお手の物。だったら庭師の変装を解いてこの屋敷の使用人に変装することなんてたやすいことなんじゃないかしら。
Our dance continued. Ah, so romantic. I watched Lupin as he watched me, waiting for him to react. He did. His shoulders took on a different drooping than one of relaxation, as did his smile twist narrowly to one of defeat.
見事だな。では、僕も君に尋ねたい。君もバラの香りの中で眠りに落ちてくれることを期待したんだけど、裏切ってくれたのはどうして？
もう少し早く屋敷に入っていたら、私も眠っていたでしょうね。そうな、正確にはお母様の手鏡のおかげだけど。
Just before stepping into the mansion, I realized that I had left it behind in the carriage, so I hurried back to go and collect it.
なるほどね。君も幸運の女神を味方につけたのか。僕たち 気が合うと思わないか？
私の幸運はあなたの不運以外の何物でもないわ。この絵はあなたに盗ませてはさせない。私の大切な宝物なんだから守ってみせる。
君こそ銃の撃鉄を上げたままで撃とうとしている。いい？
嘘。
Ah, it's a bluff.
嘘。
I was startled by the weapon flying out of my grip. Fell for it. A culprit's playing card lay next to it on the floor. Knowing it to be my only advantage against Lupin, I dived to retrieve it, but my fingers couldn't even touch it before it was kicked away. If only I'd moved sooner.
すまない。でもいかにスマートに相手を欺くか。
全然スマートじゃないわよ。こんな。
はあ、そう怒らないで。やっぱり君には拳銃よりもこっちの方がよく似合うよ。
Is he gonna give us a flower? To his words, he produced an immaculate red rose. Whatever the scene, Lupin's smile wouldn't leave him, and, with the refinement of a prince, he glided to me and offered me this gift. I would have preferred he threw it in my face.
あなたのからかいはもうたくさんよ。
All my fury compounded into the hand that smacked his own aside. Oh my god, we just slapped him. It was my next mistake. I knew at the moment a burning pain seared my palm, that which could only be alleviated by pressing it into it with my opposite thumb. Oh, of course. Oh, of course a rose from him would have thorns.
私ったらまたルパンのからかいに引っかかるなんて。あなた一体どこまで私を。
Even asking became quite suddenly an effort. With each word, my body grew heavier.
まさかこのバラ、薬を仕込んで。
I could support myself no longer. My body, quaking with weightlessness, dropped forwards.
君にはすまないと思う。
Lupin caught me before I crashed to the floor.
君の大切なものを奪い去る僕を君は決して許さないんだろうな。でもこれも目的のためなんだ。
I expected the last thing I'd see would be that infuriating smile, but there was no such thing. A man different to what I had come to think of as the gentleman thief. A man who, all I knew, was a pretentious lawbreaker with debonair trappings, looked at me with regretful eyes. I only observed it as briefly as time would allow it. As I breathed in, a musky scent enveloped the room, reached my nostrils, and bid me a restful sleep. The next thing I recall is someone shaking my shoulders. It took only moments before I opened my eyes to see that Pendleton was the one responsible. Pendleton, you're safe.
お嬢様、ご無事ですか?
He asked, but in my stirring state it was difficult to comprehend the question or respond thoughtfully. Though I said nothing, my eyes went from dull to focused, regaining their clarity enough for him to understand I was well. I sat up. At that moment, at some point, I was moved from the floor to a bed.
申し訳ありません、お嬢様。
I couldn't help but notice that Pendleton, who rarely expressed disturbance of any kind, addressed me between irregular breathing.
私がついていながら予告通りに絵を盗まれてしまうとは。
すみません、ミス・ホワイトリー。僕もまんまと眠らされてしまって。
Pendleton, do you have anything to say to that? It was then that I saw no painting on the wall where one should have been. In its place, much smaller but hung with equal care, was the Queen of Spades. Queen of Death, you say?
私は家宝をルパンに盗まれてしまったのね。
I wondered if I should have been angry with him, but I wasn't. What I felt was anger, certainly, but it was more towards myself. In the clearest of ways, he did what he said he would, and I did not.
でも、どうしてルパンはあんな悲しそうな顔をしていたのかしら。
Recalling that moment made me look down at my injured hand, which, to my surprise, was wrapped in a bandage.
ペンデルトン、この包帯ってあなたが？
He felt bad because he wasn't expecting you to slap the rose.
いいえ、私ではございません。
もしかして
No matter how I reasoned it, I could not understand what Lupin was thinking. Night passed, dawn rose. And with the new day came a baffling new development.
これは一体どういうことだ。
この絵はルパンジュニアに盗まれたはずですよね。
ああ。
私が聞きたいくらいだわ。どうして絵がここに？
この絵の裏に書かれた日付の筆跡。ホワイトリー家の家宝に間違いありません。
Lupin felt bad. The act confused me all the more. The painting of Queen Victoria had been promptly returned to the mansion by an unnamed sender.
ルパンジュニアが予告状で盗んだ獲物を返すなんて前代未聞だ。明日は空から槍が降ってくるんじゃないか。
警部、さすがに空から槍は降ってこないんじゃ。
Oh, Ryan.
例えだ、バカ者。
気高き女王陛下の姿をいただく。予告状。
That wasn't right. A person so captivated by his own methods of thievery would never retract a declaration.
ルパンには何か別の狙いがあったのかしら。でも他に女王陛下の姿を描いたものなんて。
I inspected the portrait closely now that it was back in its original position in the hall. Nothing appeared damaged or altered, except for what was around the portrait.
写真がないわ。
お嬢様、写真とは？もしや旦那様と奥様方の。
Oh geez, that was the most important part.
昨日までは確かにここにあったのに、それにこのテーブルクロス。
The scent wafted to my nose. To think, it was only the night before when I last smelled this and last saw that curiously regretful face.
君にはすまないと思う。君の大切なものを奪い去る僕を君は決して許さないんだろうな。
もしかしてルパンは最初から絵ではなく写真を狙っていた。
Then how did he know about it?
一体どうして？そこまでして写真を手に入れたい理由があったのかしら。今は理由について考えている場合じゃないわ。あの写真はお父様たちに起こった事件の謎に関わる。何としても取り返さなきゃ。あの写真をルパンから。
It was another several days before Lupin issued his next declaration. The target would be the much-rumored Holy Grail of Arthurian legend, a golden cup and noted subject over the nobility's tea parties in the past. Okay, good. Though I had no connection to this particular treasure, I decided that wherever he was to go, I was to lie in wait to recover my photograph.
ミス・ホワイトリー、君のことだ。どうせ僕を出し抜いてルパンを捕まえてやろうとでも思ったんだろ
う。It's personal.
己の力に過信するとひどい目に遭うことがこれでよく分かったはずだ。コリタなら無茶は控えたまえ。
過信なんてしていないわ。私はただ大事なあの写真を取り返したいだけよ。
君は彼を礼儀正しい紳士か何かと勘違いしているんじゃないか。ルパンは犯罪者だぞ。
No, he is a gentleman and we love him.
彼を捕まえるのはこの僕だ。君が出る幕じゃない。行くぞ、ワトソン君。
With that, we could raise Pendleton Assassin to 85.
そんな。
おい、ホームズ。
言っちまった。まったく身勝手なやつだな。
ごめんな。ホームズもルパンにはあの時の事件で煮え湯を飲まされただろ。だから少しムキになってるんだと思う。あんまり考えすぎるなよ。君は何も悪いことなんてしてないんだからさ。でも無茶なことはしてほしくないっていうのは俺もホームズと同意見かな。君は女の子だし。
As opposed to Pendelzerker or Pendelvenger. I wonder what class Holmes would be. I wonder.
確かにそうかもしれないわ。でも私だって探偵なのよ。
When equipped with gun, is he Pendle Archer? Yes.
もちろん分かってるよ。だけど 最近女性を狙った暴行事件も増えているから
jeez.
気をつけてほしいんだ。くれぐれも街に一人で行こうとするなよ。何かあってからじゃ遅いんだから。
That was the last of his point before he turned heel to join Holmes.
ミス・ホワイトリー。
Yes, dear?
ルーピン、いつからそこにいたの？
さっきからずっといたんですけど。ってそんなことよりやっぱりごめんなさい。僕何の役にも立てなくて。
It was one of a string of apologies from him, and his guilt became mine.
気にすることないわルーピン。あのペンデルトンだってルパンにやられちゃったんだし。
僕はホームズ君のように堂々とできないし、ワトソン君のように気の利いたことも言えません。
Lupin wasn't one for confidence, but his contempt for an event that was, by all accounts, out of his control was greater than normal. Oh, he's overcompensating?
ルーピンにだっていいところがあるのに。そうだわルーピン、それなら一つお願いがあるんだけど。
If there was any request that would give him long due confidence, it would be asking him to escort me to the scene of the gentleman thief's next crime. Oh boy. He did respond with vehement reluctance in the beginning, his usual stammering and quivering, but after further explaining, he agreed to join me.
待たせてごめんなさいルーピン。ペンデルトンの目を盗んで屋敷を抜け出すのに時間がかかっちゃって。
Pendleton is dying.
待たされる分には別にいいんですけど。ミス・ホワイトリー、ペンデルトンさんに黙ってきちゃったんですか？
言ったところでペンデルトンが許可してくれるとは到底思えないもの。大丈夫よ。行き先は書き置きを残してあるわ。
道理であんなに厳しい執事さんになるわけですね。
それよりも早く行きましょう。予告。
わかりました。もう日も落ちてきたし急ぎましょう。予告の時間に間に合わなかったらいろいろ大変ですし。
そうね。だからできるだけ急ぎましょう。ルーピンも道案内をよろしくね。
Indeed, he showed distinct familiarity with the streets down to their back alleys. Bit by bit, he navigated through clean or dingy, thin and wide, tall and small areas that would have been incomprehensible to me. Though he moved swiftly whatever the cleanliness or size, he often turned to me, a glint of concern in his eyes, to see if I was maneuvering with similar speed. He's such a gentleman. But it was not without incident. In a space that was remarkably dirty, remarkably narrow, and remarkably ominous, waited 3 remarkably frightening men.
へえ、そこの女、いいとこのお嬢様みたいな格好だな。
Ah, these men are gonna die. There was a hungriness about him, the wideness of his grin, that struck me with a horrible dread.
おいおい、メイドの次はお嬢様に手出そうってか？お前も偉くなったもんだな。
別の道を行きましょう、ミス・ホワイトリー。
Good idea. As he turned to exit the alley, so did I.
おっと、ここで会ったのも何かの縁だ。ちょっと俺たちに付き合えよ。まあ、野郎に用はないんだけどよ。
Prepare to die! The man balled his fist and sent it to Lupin's cheek, slamming him against the ground before he could realize what was happening. I tried to run to him. Really, I did.
はーい、お嬢様はどうぞこちらへ。てか
I was soon pinioned by 2 of the men, and my arms were wrenched of their freedom. Fear became a fragrance in the form of the alcohol and medicine coming from their breath. I could have choked on it. The more I struggled to break free of the wrist, the tighter the grip upon me felt.
離して、離しなさい。ルーピンしっかりして。
って 暴れるんじゃねえよ、このお嬢様がよ。
After a short, sharp plosive sound, I felt a warm ache in my cheek. This ache from being slapped made its way to the back of my head, down my neck, and through my body, paralyzing me. This is very bad!
ミス・ホワイトリー。
心配しなくったって殺しゃしねえよ。ちょっと遊ぶだけなんだからそうムキになるなって。しかしお前ひ弱そうなのに意外と頑丈だな。いいサンドバッグになれるぜ。
Whenever Lupin tried to move, he was struck without mercy. He stood, he was struck, he stood again and was struck again. He did so even when he barely could, and the man, full of wild, horrid energy, knocked him against the ground. I don't much like this content either. Every blow caused my chest to tighten, and the breath to be stopped at my throat. Why?
ルピン、やめて、もうやめてちょうだい。
話せとかやめろとか、お嬢様は注文が多いな。そんなにお友達が大切か？
お願いですから彼女を話してください。
はあおい、今なんか聞こえたか？
いや、何も。それよりもお嬢様とやろう。早く楽しもうぜ。
お前、
なんだよ一体。
There we go, power limiter's off.
カードだと。くそ、お前痛い。
I really don't like these sorts of scenarios. But I like Lupin. So I'm just going along with it now. Make sure to put a content warning when I upload the VOD. The sight of several blood-stained items thrown along the ground caught my attention. Playing cards. To these cards did the men clutch their arms and necks. They now wore thin lines, upon first sight invisible, and in seconds deepening with red as blood tided to the surface. In this moment, they were focused to one spot.
美しいものを汚すのは最低最悪な行為だ。
Ah, I love this voice. I am super running out of space, so no. I need this. Yes. Yes, please. Yes. Yes. They were fixed upon him, expressions bulging in terror, as he now stood unbothered by his injuries. Lupin, conversely, displayed none of his usual meekness or inclination to hesitate. His face was so grim that I nearly thought someone else had come to the scene.
Quiero.
Quiero. The tone was unnatural coming from his mouth, deep and overbearing, and I loved it.
ムキになるなって言ったじゃないか。
やめろ、殺されるぞ。早く逃げろ。
So they fled the alley without so much as a final glance. Now only two remained.
ルピン、あなた。
I knew the man who stood before me. His hair was disheveled, his cheeks swollen, and his glare cold, but I saw through those. Only one man could make cards weapons. Only one man would speak of beauty the way he did. Oh, I'm surprised that she's getting it this early in his route. I thought for sure that that would be like a late game twist.
Miss Whiteley, 怪我はありませんか?
Ah, there he is. There he is, fully in Lupin mode. He turned so that I could no longer see his face.
私は大丈夫。それよりもあなたの方が。
僕はもう君のそばにはいられません。君は茨の城の奥に隠された秘密を見てしまったんだから。トゲに傷つく君は見たくない。 さようなら。
待って待ってルパン。
Oh! He behaved as though I never said anything. My shouting became in vain as he disappeared into the evening. I was now alone, left behind with only my heart to race and mine to run rampant. The friend I adored and the enigma with whom I held a grudge were one and the same.
今まで一緒に学園にいたルピンはあのルパンだったなんて。ずっと私は。
I can't believe Lupin and Lupin were the same person. There was little more I could do but watch where he last stood. Night arrived. Lupin, dressed for his work, stood with a man who knew both of his faces. This was no antagonist, but in some manner both an irritant and a fellow he trusted wholeheartedly.
それでなんだそのざまは。パパは女性には誠実であれとは教えた。だが正体を明かしてもいいとは言っていないぞ。
Oh, this is Lupin Sr. He just referred to himself as Papa. Arsene, you've aged really well.
父さん、開口一番にお説教はやめてくれ。
Papa. Papa. In Lupin's possession was the golden cup of his declaration.
自分の秘密よりもレディーを優先するなんてな。お前はナイトにでもなったつもりか？
僕はこれでもあなたの血を受け継ぐ怪盗なんだけど。
じゃあ怪盗のお前に尋ねよう。なぜ女王陛下の肖像画を送り返したんだ？
And why did he become a thief?
何か父さんのお気に召さないことでも？
パパはお前に盗みのすべてを叩き込んだ。それを台無しにする気か？
Why did he train his son to steal things? I'm not familiar with the original Lupin lore, so I'm not sure what his motivation is to begin with. But is it so important that he had to drag his own progeny into it too?
忘れるな、ジュニア。お前はパパの後継者なんだぞ。
そんなこと言われなくたって分かってるさ。僕は狙った獲物は逃がさない。神出鬼没の大怪盗なんだから。でもね、父さん、僕には僕のやり方ってものがあるんだ。余計な口出しは控えてくれよ。
それは大怪盗のパパへの挑発か？
さあ、解釈はご自由にどうぞ。
まったく、昔はあんなに素直だったのに、今はこんなに生意気になって。でもそんなところも可愛いな。まったく昔のパパにそっくりだ。
Yep, Arsene Lupin really is a family con.
昔は無知で従順だっただけだよ。父さんは僕に技術しか教えてくれなかったんだから。僕だってあんなところでナイトの真似事なんかしたくなかったさ。めちゃくちゃ殴られててかっこ悪かったし。
This dialogue between two criminals, with the moon as its sole witness, was done. I had my suspicions before entering Harrington for the day, but it wasn't possible to know for certain till I saw Lupin's desk. I was right, it was empty.
ルーピン君ですが、しばらく授業を欠席することになりました。
先生、理由を聞いてもいいですか？
なんでも帰り道の途中に階段から足を踏み外して両足を捻挫してしまったそうです。
That was the best he could come up with.
両足複雑骨折よりはだいぶマシですが、私も変われるものなら変わってあげたいです。
Mr. Mackenzie is such a good teacher.
両足か。いくらルーピンでもそれはひどいな。大丈夫？
先生、私彼のお見舞いに。
すみません、ホワイトリーさん。私も彼の保護者に伺ったんですが、本人が見舞いはやめてほしいと言っているそうで。
そんな。
ミス・ホワイトリー、君のおせっかいは迷惑以外の何者でもない。
Holmes too?
ルーピン君の意思を尊重してやるという考えはないのか？
Oh, unless Holmes also figured it out? And this is his way of trying to protect us?
それともそんなに彼を見舞いに行きたい理由でも？
それは。
No response was fitting enough for this predicament. I needed to hear him say he was Lupin. If we was, then I would need to fight a friend to take back my photograph. Beyond those two needs, however, a feeling I wish I could have ignored dominated all. Unease. Oh, thank you for the sip, Bad Luck Coon. Airlock, perhaps your own business is something that needs minding?
僕はもう君のそばにはいられません。君は茨の城の奥に隠された秘密を見てしまったんだから。トゲに傷つく君は見たくない。さようなら。
What if this meant I could never see him again?
彼はずっと私を騙していた。その上、私の大事なものまで盗んでいった。どうして彼が席にいないことは
It's love.
寂しいなんて思うのかしら。
He sighed. I could take no notice of lessons with such a vast hole in the room. And that's the end of the first chapter of Lupin's route. What's coming up next?
まぶたの向こうのぬくもり。
What could that mean? Well, thank you so much for joining me, everybody. This is, different than I was expecting. I thought for sure that there would be a lot more back and forth before the reveal. But I'm interested to see where they take this. Wait, let's do this on page 3. Lupin! It's been a pleasure and a treasure, so have you guys. What does it mean, end cliffhanger? That's right! If you want to know what happens next, tune in next week for Dragon Ball Z. Whew. And that was a lot of fun. Oh, I should have changed the title after I finished Marple's View. That was my bad, everybody. I'll take care, Lady Freya, and stay cute. You too! Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, my cute viewers, who I adore. Let me see who I can raid. There's nobody right now either. No wait, Daishima is, streaming right now. Do any of you have any preferences? Otherwise, I'll be raiding Daishima and his Sunday tea. Are you ready, kids? I can't hear you. Oh, Ray is also streaming. Oh, why didn't I get a notification for that? Wait, am I not following Ray? Oh my god, I am not What? What? Okay, we're raiding Ray! Raid! Alright. Getting ready to raid? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And to everybody watching along at home, this has been Freya Fukunaga, signing off.